Right. The first thing I want to hit upon that I want everyone to know, and hopefully someone to solve, is we're funding constrained. AI safety is funding constrained. And when I mention this, people say, doesn't OpenPhil have lots of money? And I'm like, yeah, maybe, I don't know. But just because OpenPhil has lots of money doesn't mean it's available to everyone who want to work on AI safety. And a big part of that gap is centralized funding is really hard. There's also like parts of there's a wide gap there that I don't really understand. So I'm not going to try to go into it too much. But I just look around me. Most projects I'm involved in are funding constrained. Several projects I'm not involved with, but I know about are funding constrained. OpenPhil admitted after the FTX crash that they raised their bar for what they funded, which means that there were things that they thought were positive, but they're no longer funding. Survival and Flourishing Fund, super important funder in AI safety, got their recent grant round. They spent more money than they intended, and they still had to raise the bar for what they would fund because there were so many applications. Long-term Future Fund just was flooded and rejecting people left and right because there's so many applications. Yeah, and also another thing I see around me and I experience myself is the financial uncertainty for working in AI safety, not knowing if you will get the grant decision being delayed, only having short-term funding all the time is causing a lot of stress. There's a lot of productivity that is lost to just trying to chase the money. So if you have the financial means or like can convince someone else with money to continuously support a project and just give them any financial stability, this would be super, super valuable. And even if, like, don't worry too much about finding the top thing you can give to. Like, just if you can just reduce the overhead, I think that's more valuable, so that we don't waste so many researchers and organizers' hours, and also evaluators' hours on just trying to make marginal improvement. Just also, how do we know what it's long term is?
What do you mean by that exactly?
I don't have a short way of saying this without going into lengthy anecdotes. It's just like applying for grants suck really hard, and I hate it, and I'm not the only one.
So maybe for Q&A.
Yeah, or maybe like just take it with me. I think I don't want to go into rant in front of the audience. Sorry, that's the wrong direction. Right. Another thing I want to highlight is things are really changing. I used to give career advice based on my own experience, and I don't even know that's relevant anymore. AI safety is rapidly entering the normal discourse overtone window, and we don't know how yet this will play out. There's lots of new initiatives, outreach initiatives that want to take advantage of this, and also like people are freaking out because AGI is coming very fast, maybe. So yeah, we don't know how yet this will play out, which brings me to the next slide. Especially since things are changing right now, you have to think for yourself, you have to trust yourself. Like there is less than ever a solid path to follow. Also, there's no community consensus on anything. You can't just find the smart people and be like, oh, they know better than me, let's trust them. Because there's some other smart person who disagree. You have to think for yourself. It's everyone's responsibility to think for yourself, and this is how we have good community epistemics. And yeah, you can join someone else's project, you can trust them, but like you have to evaluate who to trust. I see too many people who try to follow what they perceive as a community consensus, but there's nothing there. And the other advice I really want to give to everyone, actually whatever you do, but especially in AI, well, including AI safety, including if you're a researcher, if you're a community builder. Make friends. Make friends among your peers. Don't just reach out to senior people who think you can teach you something. So a failure mode I see sometimes is someone's new to AI safety. They're like, oh, I have an idea. I really want to spread this idea. And then they put it on less wrong. And the write-up is just bad. It's very hard to understand what they're saying. The idea is not very well thought through. The people who write really good blog posts, they have a group of friends who they share their ideas with, who they share with they're after, and develop their ideas before they post. You should do that too. And to do that, you need friends. You need people who would listen to your idea because they care about you, not because if you only have people who care about who listen to you because you might have something important to say, then you have a few minutes to convince them to keep listening. But if you have a peer group where you support each other, listen to each other's ideas because you believe in each other or like you care about each other, then you get this initial chance to talk to someone for an hour or maybe more, which is what you need first time you explain your idea, when you don't really know how to explain it or what the idea even is. Also, yeah, mentorship is a scarce resource. AI safety is growing massively. It has always been growing very fast. So which means that there's very, like, people who are slightly more senior than you, there's much fewer than them than people who are at your level. So it's much easier and mentorship are good for some things, but the more you can rely on your peers, the better, because it's just more peers available than mentors. Next thing, everyone should know about this website. So AIsafety.training. Remember it. It's the best resource. The other useful resource, but this is the best one for people who want to get into AI safety. Yes. So it has a list of all the events that is going on. If you know about an event that isn't there, there's a button for you to submit it and add it. And that really helps everyone else to find these events. And I said to you, make friends. Going to events is a great way to connect. And look, here's EAGxWarsaw. Good choice for being here. Next weekend, end of AI Safety Camp presentations. We're going to have some online. Some of the presentations are going to be internal, some are external, so anyone can come and listen and see what AI Safety Camp people has been up to. And also, I'm also involved in organizing the virtual AI Safety Conference. It's an online event. You're welcome to join. And here's some other important links. These are links that are on the training website, so you only have to remember one link. This is a list of communities, mostly online communities, but some in-person ones. There's like way too many of them. Pick one that looks good, go there, network. This is an interactive Q&A. If you have questions about AI safety, go there and ask them. If this doesn't have an answer, submit the question. Maybe they will write the answer, or you can help contribute to this. And this is a community of mostly volunteers who are the people who are building all of this. And this is also a community you can join. Also, this is AIsafety.world. This is also on AIsafety.training. And here's all the orgs or like most of the orgs and research groups. Again, if there's something missing, there's some way. If you don't know how to add it, if you want to add something you don't know how, you can ask me. I'll figure it out. So yeah, there's a lot of things here, and it's growing. And you don't need to know everything, but like find the bit that you're interested in. So here's the research range, conceptual research, more applied research. Click on some orgs. And then when you're overwhelmed with information, leave it, go back some other day, click around a bit, and familiarize yourself what exists. Training Town, for example, if you knew the various training programs, but they're also on AIsafety.training. Still haven't learned how to click. Here's things you can help with that has to do with the infrastructure, the ecosystem. ASafety.net is a new fund. It doesn't exist yet. I hope it will exist. That is trying to provide financial stability to people. ASafety.info, aka Stampy. Talk to Matthias if you want to join. This is the interactive queue I mentioned. These are various websites that are in various stages of existing. They need to be maintained to make sure the information is up to date. Safety.com, I know a person who purchased this domain and want to make it useful. And so if you want to build, if you the type of people who want to design something new and have good ideas what should be on this web page, I can connect you to Søren, who owns it and wants help. Right. This is the last slide, I think, before the Q&A. Don't contribute to capabilities. We don't know how much time we have left. We need that time. Also, this is trickier than you might think. There's like more and more overlap between safety research and capabilities research. This is a bit scary. The incentives are currently against you. But really, really make sure that you do more safety than capabilities, or preferably no capabilities. As a community builder, this is something I'm super worried about, that I get people excited and then they just slide into capabilities. Please don't do that. Right, Q&A. You know everything, that's great.
Maybe the time for the rant.
All right, sure. Time for the rant. Okay, so first of all, I'm not blaming the people evaluating the grants. This is very important. If this is recorded and I know you're listening, like, I'm sorry for what I'm going to say. It's not your fault. I know it's hard. Please don't be upset at me. But I have had absolutely terrible experience with grant applications, with funders not giving a response in time. Like they have a deadline that they set for themselves and they break it. And this is extremely stressful. And the fact also, like when I've been talking to individual grant makers, there's a person I can talk to, and it's just, I don't know, there's a different feeling. With a grant maker, you write this long monologue. You don't really know the person you talk to, and you try to hit their cruxes, and then you don't, and then you get turned down, and the feedback is pretty limited. And it hurts. It hurts really, really badly. And also, there's like several things. The reason also I want to talk about the fact that we're funding constraint is, first time I was turned down, I believed the message that, oh, there was so much funding. And then it sucks even more to be turned down. And then I started suspecting that maybe this story about how much funding we have isn't like the full truth. But I know that others believed it, and I didn't want to admit, I didn't want to talk about the fact that it was turned down, because everyone would assume that the people who turned me down, who are like higher status than me and more experienced with me, of course they're right and I'm wrong when I'm complaining. I told you this is a rant. This is not a focused thing. So there was supposed to be a hackathon after this event. So what I've been told is the reason it isn't happening is because the funders screwed up and didn't answer in time. Oh, right. Another thing that most people doesn't know is Long-Term Future Fund, the people who evaluate the funds, they're doing this on a volunteer basis. This is not their main job. This is something they do on the side and that they don't really have time for. So when you know this, no wonder it doesn't work very well. So if you have funding, if you have money to give, you can evaluate as well as they can. And you have more time to think about your money. And you have a different network with them. You have you know different people, you have a different bias. A lot of the evaluation is based on evaluating the person they're giving money to. And that evaluation is based a lot on either they know them directly or they know someone who knows them. But if you're more than 2 steps removed from like basically the Bay Area community, you're at a disadvantage. And I kind of understand why they do that. It's hard to evaluate, and it's important to get it right. It's important not accidentally fund someone who just go on to do capabilities, or it's important to make sure we don't accept too many free riders, because like what that will do to the dynamics. So it's a hard trade-off, but it means that if you know people in your close network that you have a comparative advantage to evaluate, I think you should give to them. And yeah, don't put too much trust in expert evaluators. And
so I have like a not rant-related question. So if it's all right to stop the rant, then I can do it. So let's say someone wants to do mechanistic interpretability, and the person is like thinking, oh, can my research contribute to capabilities? Do you have like any like advice except for like sit down and think hard about this problem? Whatever your specific research is doing harm, is there like some sort of community guidelines to think about this stuff?
I am not aware about community guidelines, but ask other people. I think it's just a good practice. And other than that, I don't know. There are a lot of people who think mechanistic interpretability is not good. I think it's not good. There's also people who think it's not bad.
Why do you think there are such strong opposing views on whether AI safety is constrained by funding or not?
I'm speculating, but I think that if you have good personal, professional relationship with OpenPhil, and if there is someone they already trust, you can have lots of money. You can have all the money you need. And if you don't have that, so OpenPhil doesn't even evaluate small projects. I had one interacting with OpenPhil. I was like, hey, I want to run a safety camp. It didn't have any name yet, so I called it something else. And I was like, hey, can you give me money? And they're like, no. Your project is too small. You're too unknown. We don't know how to deal with you. Go ask someone else. And when you're in that position, it's much harder. Then you apply to long-term future funds, survival and flourishing fund, which at least currently are funding constrained, and they're also massively evaluate. Like as I said, they're evaluated by volunteers who have limited times, and then the world looks very different.
I have a friend who keeps telling me that I should go into AI safety research because I have a background in computer engineering and philosophy. But it seems like the landscape is so there's so much hype around it that there is a bottleneck. Even like, sure, it's competitive to get into a position, it's competitive to get into many things, but it's competitive to even get into a training.
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah. So what's the easiest like training or something easy? The easiest type of training that I could get that isn't independent, because also for other reasons it would be nice to have somebody pulling me by the hand.
So AGI Safety Fundamentals, it's the official course is competitive to get into. But there's lots of people who run local groups that are, I think, less hard to get into. And the curriculum is just online. So actually, the way to be certain you get in is to start your own group.
I have a suggestion. Two things. First, alignment jumps, which are run on approximately monthly basis by alignment jumps, like approximately monthly hackathons, which sometimes they are about mechanistic interpretability, sometimes they are about other stuff, even like conceptual, theoretical stuff like AGI governance. So you don't code anything, just like a design or proposal or something like that. and there you just meet other people and you get together, find people who somebody has an interesting idea which you can help, and you work together on this mini project for, let's say, 2 days, and sometimes then it's evaluated by apart and like some professional researchers, and sometimes you are invited to follow up on it, and sometimes even enters into a paper and gets published in like top tier journal, machine learning journal. The second thing, there are online communities of people who are like doing just research together or contributing to it in some way. So for example, there is a Discord server, it's called something like Mechanistic Interpretability Projects, run by Linsefors, and just what it sounds, people have some projects related to mechanistic interpretability. They look for somebody who they would like to help with that, and just work together on these projects. And so the entry level is probably as low as you can get. And something else, there's a Slack, it's a small Slack run mostly by Irlanda, mechanistic interpretability open source. So if you don't even have like some mechanistic interpretability skills per se, but you can help develop, for example, a Python library for facilitating MechInterp, you can help with that.
Thank you. So I brought this up because I don't know exactly which of these hackathons are alignment YAM. There's 2 hackathons here.
The second one, interpretability hackathon, is the one run by Apart Research, and others.
There's another hackathon, maybe by someone else. This is great.
I think both are alignment jams.
All right. Yellow means it's online. It doesn't and a lot of online event is just anyone can join. Not all of them. You can go ahead and check.
Oh, and at Stampy, we're going to hold this distillation hackathon in 2 weeks, I think, or what? No, in 1 week. So it's unfortunately coincides with AI certificate edit program.
Oh yeah, you should put it up here.
Yeah, I should. So at Stampy, for the last 3 months, we've had 4 paid fellows who are like intensively, they were paid to edit this safety info wiki, questions, answers, added more questions, and help improve its content. And this phase is coming to an end. But next weekend we are going to have a distillation hackathon where people will just work together intensely for 2 days, just to edit as many questions and answers as possible and have fun doing that. And soon after that, we're going to have another phase of this fellowship. Probably we're going to hire another 5 people to work full time on developing a safety info.
I've been told we run out of time. I'm going to hang out. I don't have official office hours, but I'll just hang out outside here. Maybe Matthias will join me and tell you about the projects he's involved in. Thank you for helping with the questions.
And there is a chat, so you guys can link up over there, or the talk chat, yeah.
I don't know about this chat, so you should tell me about
Oh,
it.
it's on Swapcard. If you just click on the talk, there's a chat, there's a questions, there's a polls.
Oh, don't trust me to have good internet, by the way. Like, but maybe someone can help me.
I dropped some links there.
Yes, thank you.